The GOP is already eyeing a congressional ban on abortion once they capture Congress and the executive branch. Now, this is the follow-up to the Supreme Court very likely overturning Roe v. Wade in June of this year. And following that, there might be some places where women might seek refuge, places like California and New York, where abortion will not be made illegal. However, don't you worry, the GOP is looking for ways to prevent women from getting abortions in those states as well. While a number of states have recently approved laws to ban abortion after 15 weeks of pregnancy, the limit established in the Mississippi legislation at the heart of the case pending before the high court, some activists and Republican lawmakers now say those laws are not ambitious enough for the next phase of the anti-abortion movement. Instead, they now see the 6-week limit, which they call heartbeat legislation, as the preferred strategy because it would prevent far more abortions.
It basically prevent all abortions.
Exactly, because most women who end up getting pregnant don't know that they're pregnant at 6 weeks. You just don't know, it's too early. And they are specifically choosing 6 weeks to ensure that women will effectively not have the ability to get an abortion. Approximately 93% of abortions take place in the first 13 weeks of pregnancy, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, meaning 15-week bans target a small fraction of abortions. So that's why they're hyper-focused on making these laws even more restrictive to effectively ban abortion. That's the whole point here. And by the way, you think they won't do this? Of course they'll do this. I actually want to go to a video that's been making its rounds featuring Charlie Kirk, talking about, hey, you know what? Now that we know that the Supreme Court might overturn Roe v. Wade, the possibilities are endless. Let's watch.
If we're trying to save the country, which we are, and we're looking at repealing Roe versus Wade, it changes the entire game. There'll be obviously extraordinary blowback on this, unlike anything I think we've ever seen. But this takes courage, simple courage by the 5 justices if they do what they're signaling. And that's something that's in short supply right now from our leaders. It's kind of like oil coming above surface. It's a sign that there's likely more below. Boy, is courage in short supply, but I think there's more than we even can put our eyes on right now. And if we can get Roe versus Wade overturned, anything is possible.
A federal ban on abortions through congressional legislation. That's a possibility, and that's what they're working on right now as we speak. By the way, overturning gay rights. You think they're not gonna do that? They're eyeing that as well. Making it illegal to access contraceptives. You think they're not gonna do that? They'll do that as well. Because again, look, this is not about conservatism or morality or, we want to protect life. It has nothing to do with that. It's about turning this country into a theocracy, and of course a theocracy of their preferred religion. It's about controlling women, it's about punishing women. That's all this is about. The abortion debate in this country, I mean, read the history about it. It didn't start off as an issue pertaining to religious principles. It started out during the Nixon administration as a tool to accumulate power. That is what the right wing engages in the culture wars for. And guess what? It has worked out for them because increasingly the Democratic Party has provided no other alternative. So if you have one party that cowers like sniveling little clowns to the Republican Party, and then you have a Republican Party that's actually offering people something, which is fear, which is dominance, what do you think is gonna happen?
So I'm gonna tell you an amazing fact here. So the Chamber of Commerce came up, and certain right-wing leaders came up with a strategy of getting Christians to vote for Republicans so they can get more tax cuts and deregulation. So they literally thought it through and thought, who are the easiest marks in the country? People who have said they are not going to use logic. They will simply listen to what their leader says, a priest or a clergy member of some sort, a pastor, right? So great, we'll just convince the pastors and then get them to all vote Republican. Now, but how are we gonna really animate them? Well, why don't we say that the Democrats are killing children? And people get most emotional about kids. But the Democrats aren't killing children. Oh, I got it, abortion. Will pretend they're killing children through abortion, and then we'll say it doesn't matter what any of the issues are. You must give us tax cuts, otherwise the Democrats are going to kill children. Abortion, the original QAnon. Okay, so now Lewis Powell was a lawyer for the Chamber of Commerce who wrote the memo about capturing the country. Kind of what Charlie Kirk was saying, okay? But he did it in a sophisticated way back in 1971. And one of the places he said they should take over is the Supreme Court. Just a couple months after reading that memo, Richard Nixon put Lewis Powell on the Supreme Court. Lewis Powell did a couple of very important decisions. One was he brought money into politics. He said corporations can spend money to buy politicians, that was freedom of speech. Okay, our democracy was ended in those two decisions by Powell in 1976 and 78. So that's when the corporate takeover began. But Lewis Powell was also part of another decision, Roe v. Wade. So Roe made abortion illegal. Powell joined that decision. That's interesting. Appointed by Richard Nixon, okay? And then the Republicans used the abortion issue for the rest of time to say, give us the tax cuts, let us do whatever we want with our businesses and pollute your kids and endanger everybody because of abortion, because the Democrats are killing your kids, okay? So that was, to be fair to them, the genius strategy that they launched. So now this is the final, point where they now finally get to say, okay, we execute it. Okay, we use it for political reason for decade after decade after decade. Now, Anna said that the Republicans might come and do a national law. So Rhode Island, Hawaii, California, New York, it doesn't matter. Abortion could be illegal everywhere. But wait a minute, there's a filibuster in the Senate. So that's why if the filibuster didn't exist, the Democrats have the Senate, the House, and the presidency. They could pass a national law saying abortion is legal and we're done with it, right? Oh, but when the Republicans get in charge, do you think they're going to respect the filibuster and the parliamentarian? You're kidding, right? Nobody thinks that. And especially if it's somebody like Trump, do you think he's even going to leave office? I mean, he didn't want to leave last time. He's still saying that he shouldn't have left office. He considered military rule. Next time, oh, we'll just vote them out because there's more of us. 70% of Americans are pro-choice. There might not be a next time if Trump wins. And right now, our only choice is these soft, weak Democrats who are barely standing in the way of this right-wing takeover. And then, yeah, we're actually in Handmaid's Tale. We're at a point where the Republicans have taken away all of our freedoms under the guise of freedom. When they say freedom, they mean my freedom to rule over you and control your lives and your bodies. That is what the right-wing ideology is. It's built on oppression, okay? We must fight back with everything we have. But in order to do that, we gotta go around the Democrats because the Democrats will fight us. They'll say, oh, don't, that's our beloved Republican colleagues. Whatever you do, don't fight them. No deal, no consent.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.